All right, hello and welcome. So glad to have you guys with us. So excited for today's session. We're going to be talking all about how to maximize the conversion rate from the leads that you're generating on your website. And this is one of those topics I love to get nerdy on. I love to go deep with, but I also find it to be really practical. So, if you run a plumbing, HVAC, electrical home service business, you're going to get lots of insights on little things you can change with your website to generate more leads from the traffic that you already have, and ideally also to convert more of the leads you generate into booked jobs, right? And so just let me know in the comments here, if you find the chat box, give me a 1 in comments if I can give you a couple of insights to generate better results from your website and better conversion of your leads. You'll feel like this is a good use of today's time. All right, couple of ones coming in. Let's try and keep this interactive. I like to make these sessions interactive, and to the extent you engage with me, the better two-way conversation we can have. Okay, Jose, Derek, John, one's coming in now. Perfect. Really appreciate that. So, when I do any of my content and any of these webinars and trainings that I do, I like to look at it through the lens of this accelerated growth model. And really our goal for you is to show you a model to triple your sales over the next 12 to 24 months. And that really boils down to driving leads, maximizing conversion, and optimizing results, right? And, a more specific aspect of this, in the last training I did, and you can go look it up, how to triple your sales by getting your internet marketing right, I unpacked this entire model and kind of went high level on the key things you can do to drive leads, organic, paid, database marketing to your existing customers, maximize conversion with your website, your reputation, and leveraging automation, and then to optimize the results, like really figuring out how much you should be spending to hit your goals, what your average cost per lead is to optimize for that, and then really optimizing everything you do around return on investment. But today, what we're going to focus on is this area right here on how to maximize the conversion of your website and the conversion of the leads that you generate into sales. And really, if you look at our digital dominance method and the key things you want to put in place to really dominate your local market and maximize your lead flow, this kind of sits over here in the organic side of the equation. Your website needs to be strong before you start spending a lot of money on SEO, before you start spending a lot of money on paid search, even before you start spending money on a lot of different areas. But then as it is strong, there's so many different strategies that you can implement over time to turn up the lead flow and generate better results online. So this kind of sits nicely here in the organic side of the equation, kind of the predecessor to your entire lead generation strategy for your plumbing, HVAC, electrical business. A little bit of housekeeping, if you could, it really helps me out to make this as interactive as possible. Close the other tabs that you might have open, turn off the cell phone, definitely close Facebook. Let's just give this our undivided attention for the next 45 minutes to an hour. I promise to bring the value. I promise to give you some great insights to generate better results online. And just give me one in the comments if you're good with these rules of engagement for today's session. Awesome. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. So who am I? Why should you listen? Maybe you know who I am because you're on this session. My name is Josh Nelson. I'm the founder and CEO of Plumbing and HVAC SEO. I'm the author of the book, How to Triple Your Sales by Getting Your Internet Marketing Right. We're active in almost all of the association and groups, PHCC, QSC, Nexstar, Service Roundtable, CEO Warrior. A lot of my content and trainings have been published in the industry magazines and publications. But I'd say more important than any of that stuff, the reason you should listen to me is because at this point, I've had the opportunity to work with hundreds of plumbing, HVAC, electrical contractors all over the country and international as well. And been able to see a lot of them go from not generating great results online to the point where they're now the dominant players in their market. A lot of them generating hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of leads every single month. Many of them that you can see on this screen have seen over $1 million in revenue growth in the time that we've had to work with them. So what I share, with you and what I'm going to be sharing on today's webinar isn't based on theory. It's not based on like some book that I read somewhere, a blog post that I looked up. It's based on our real world experience in the trenches with home service companies just like yours. And this is what we do. Plumbing and HVAC SEO is a digital marketing agency that specializes in this industry. We've got a great proven model. So today we're talking informational, but if you're like, hey, you know what, I'd like to have you guys build my website like that. I'd like to have you kind of run that accelerated growth model to generate better results online. If you're in the market for that, we'd love the opportunity to check in with you and do a free evaluation. If you're interested in that, you can go to plumberseo.net/schedule. Christian just put it in the comments. It's complimentary. Like today, we're going to talk information, but if you want an analysis of your specific situation, we'll do that for you. It's completely free, and we'll show you where there's room for improvement. And if it makes sense, we'll talk about how we can put our strategies to place for you. So let's get into today's session. And I always like to start these sessions with really thinking about what the issue is, what the problem is that makes even paying attention to this session make sense. The problem is most of you guys have a large investment in your marketing, right? Give me a $1 or a $sign in the comments if you feel like you spend a lot of money, like either in websites or SEO or pay-per-click or local service ads or some other branding. Lots of $signs in here, right? The fact is, the home service industry, plumbing, HVAC specifically, you guys spend a lot of money on your marketing. And oftentimes we're able to generate traffic, right? Let's say you're spending some money and you can get visitors to your website. Maybe you get hundreds or thousands of visitors getting to your website every month, but there's usually not enough leads coming out of the investment, right? I think all of us are willing to spend $1,000 in whatever we're doing if we know that we're going to get $5,000 or more in ROI, right? If they've got a 3 to 5 times return on investment, we would do that. Give me a type ROI in the comments if you believe like, hey, if I can spend $1 and get 5 in return, I'll spend that dollar all day. The problem I see with most home service companies is they're spending the dollar, but they're only getting like $1 back or $2 back, and it just barely breaks even in most cases. And so when we get low ROI, that leads to other problems, right? It leads to not wanting to spend the money. It leads to not being able to grow. But I think the biggest problem is it leads to parked trucks and empty schedules, right? If you're spending money in your marketing and you're not getting return on investment, right? And you're not able to generate the lead flow and the book jobs that you need, you wind up with parked trucks. And the big industry challenge isn't necessarily lead generation, right? And a lot of you guys' cases, I have no problem with leads. I've got plenty of sales opportunities. I just don't have enough technicians. Type that in the comments, technicians, for me, if that's the bottleneck you face. It's like, hey, if I just had technicians that were trained, that could go out and do the work and kind of hold the standard that I've built for my business, I could grow to the moon, right? Just type technicians if that's an issue, right? Technicians is what I'm seeing here. So this to me is the biggest reason you have to optimize your marketing, the reason you have to make sure your website's built to convert and you've got strategies to convert your leads into sales. Because Dan Kennedy, if you're big into direct response, which not all of us are, but Dan Kennedy is famously quoted as saying, the person that wins is the one that can spend the most to acquire a customer, right? And so if you've got a strategy where you can spend more to acquire customers, you're going to win the day because you can spend more, you can hire the best technicians, you can create great incentive plans. But if you're not converting your lead flow, then you're going to struggle, right? And if you wind up with parked trucks, you lose some of those technicians that you have trained, that you have put in place. So this is a pretty important thing to solve for. And if we don't generate enough leads for the investment, we can't grow. So the opportunity, and really what we're going to be doing on today's session, what I'm excited about unpacking with you, is showing you how to build a great website that's built to convert, right? Whether you hire us, or you do it yourself, or you kind of just get with your current provider, I'm going to give you some very specific things you can do to maximize the conversion rate of your website. Consistently convert the visitors that we have on the site, whether they came from SEO or they came from pay-per-click or they came from seeing your truck, convert as many of them into leads and sales. Make sure that you've got a full calendar with the trucks running and that you're not just generating leads, but you're generating leads that convert into book jobs. And what I find is when you've solved for this, right, and you've got a good strategy to convert the lead flow and you can generate more and more traffic, qualified traffic in the local market, you're going to have momentum and consistent growth in your business. And so really that's what we're focused on today. And that's what we're going to be getting into. I really believe that your website is the hub, right? And the reason we need to make sure the website is built to convert is because regardless of how somebody arrives in your world, or regardless of how they found out about you, maybe they saw your truck or they saw a billboard or they ran a Google search and you happen to come up organically or in the paid listings, regardless of what marketing mechanism they found you through, in every case, they're going to wind up on your website, whether it's on the desktop or whether it's on their mobile phone. Before they call, before they convert, in most cases, they're going to wind up on your site. And so if your website isn't converting at a healthy level, it's going to bring all of the marketing that you have in place down. And so there's very specific things we can do to really improve the conversion rate from visitor to caller. And just one last scenario here that I want to paint. Hopefully this is large enough for everybody to see. Let's just say you get 1,500 visitors per month coming to your website, and they're through organic or paid or whatever the mechanism is, and you convert 5% of the visitors into leads, which is unfortunately about the norm. You know, if you don't have a great optimized strategy for your website, for the content on the site, and the conversion factors, it's going to be somewhere between 5 and 10%. So let's just say you're converting at 5%. That would mean for that traffic, you get 75 leads. Either they called in, they submitted a form, or they started a chat. You get 75 leads. And let's say you convert 30% of your leads into booked jobs, right? Some of you guys convert much higher, maybe some of you lower, but let's just use that as an average. That would mean you have 22 booked jobs. Let's just say average ticket is $450. You generate $10,000 in revenue off those 1,500 visitors. Now, I'm going to show you today, you can easily at least triple the conversion rate from the visitors on your website into lead flow. And we're going to show you specifically what you can do to make that a reality. So let's say we don't do anything else from traffic. We don't spend another dollar on SEO or pay-per-click or do anything to get more visitors to the site. We just keep that constant, but we increase our conversion rate from 5% to 15%. Still a relatively low bar in my mind, but let's say you can just improve it to 15%. For the same traffic, you would generate 222 leads. Let's say we keep the 30% conversion rate where it is. That's 67 booked jobs at an average of $450. That's a $30,000 revenue generated without spending another dollar on ads, without spending another dollar on SEO. So this is really, really important. And what I'm going to be showing you today is a number of examples of websites in the plumbing, HVAC, home service space, converting at greater than 30%. So, you know, I think the minimum bar we should be shooting for is like 20%, but we want to be optimizing to get north of 30% conversion rate. And what's great is most of you, just by making a couple of tweaks to the website and the way that the content is structured, will make a massive difference in the amount of revenue that you're able to generate. And again, when you're generating more leads from the traffic you already have, you can start to spend more on your leads. You can spend a little bit more on Google Ads. You can spend a little bit more on SEO because you know more of those leads are going to convert into leads, right? And more of those leads are going to convert into booked jobs. So a tactical example, and I'm just going to show this example and then we're going to get right into the content. Tactical example, Laney's is a company based in Fargo, North Dakota. They do plumbing, HVAC, electrical, and remodeling. Over here on the left was when we started working with them, they had a very basic website. It was not optimized for conversion. And we rolled out an updated version of the site with all of the elements I'm going to be showing you today that you can put in place that will 3 to 10x the conversion rate from visitor to lead. And so we put that in place. And I just want to show you, looking at all of the call trackings, we do track the number of leads through the website. We track the effectiveness of the website. When we initially rolled out the site, we're averaging about 55 leads per month via their website. So not bad, but not great. Obviously, the website was converting at a very, very low level. We rolled out the new version, and without changing anything with traffic, without improving any of the rankings, we saw their lead flow increase to 317 leads directly via the website. So this can have a huge impact on your results, right? And if you can just get a couple of these things rolled out, it can make a really, really big difference. And so I'll just kind of show you some of the current stats with this particular client. They spend about $2,500 a month in their online marketing. We track over 930 leads per month. Like, they're just a conversion machine. They're also really well branded in that area of Fargo, North Dakota. And 326 of those leads come from organic, 568 come from Google Maps, 36 from the web forms that get submitted on the site. But really what I want you to see here, like if you kind of analyze this, via SEO, it's 1,598 leads. And so I'm going to show you guys specific examples of the conversion rate that these websites generate in like 30 to 40% in some cases. And when you do that, you can just get an average cost per lead, which is really, really affordable. So let's get into the specifics here. I've got a workbook for you guys. If you go to plumberseo.net/conversion-workbook, or Christian has dropped it in the chat. Christian or Rick, if you could drop it in the chat again. This workbook will just help you track along. You'll be able to access some of the examples. You'll be able to look at the checklist of things you want to focus on in order to improve your conversion rates. There you go. Christian just dropped it in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shift here to sharing my screen because it'll be easier for you guys to see this from my screen. Give me 1 second. All right. Just give me one in the comments if you've been able to pull up this workbook, by the way, just so I know. One in the comments if you were able to pull up the workbook on Google Drive. Alexander Luna. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so the critical elements, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on bullets because nobody likes to think in bullets, but it helps kind of explain, and I'm going to show visuals of all of this as we go. The first and most important thing you can do to improve the conversion rate on your website is to make sure you're speaking to your target avatar, right? The fact is your customer, that homeowner that's got the broken toilet or the leaky faucet or the AC that's not working, they have a problem that they need solved. They have fears and frustrations. And so if the content on your website can enter their conversation that's in their mind, you can really improve your conversion rate. So I'll share some examples of how you break their subconscious and make sure that your messaging speaks directly to them so they choose you versus the competition. That has a huge impact. Number two is making sure that you're being real and authentic. What we find is people want to do business with other human beings. They want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so to the extent that your website has real pictures of the real people within your team, or the owner specifically, and the pictures of the truck, people resonate with that. They're like, okay, that's a real person. These are real, people on the other side of this website that are actually going to come to my house and care about my situation and get this solved for me. We found that having authentic imagery on the website has a big impact on conversion rate. So we'll talk about that specifically. Number three is leveraging multimedia. And that's today, it's so easy to have video of yourself saying, hey, welcome to the website. We're a full service plumbing, HVAC, electrical company serving the Dallas area. People that need to have same day service and have these problems solved, love to do business with us because we answer the phone live and we show up on time. Like if you can incorporate video that welcomes them to the website and speaks to their challenges and their frustrations, you can really improve your conversion rate. Leveraging social proof, right? At the end of the day, you could say you're great, but what really people want to know is how many reviews do you have? What are other customers saying about you? And so leveraging social proof can really improve your conversion rate. Having some of the fundamental things in place, phone number in the top right-hand corner, ensuring that there's a web form where they can submit a request, ensuring that there's an opportunity to engage via chat or book directly online can have a huge impact on your conversion rates. Ensuring that you have clear call to action. So as we scroll through your website, we're going to get to practical examples here in a second, but as we scroll through, are we telling them what to do next? Like, are we specifically saying, call our office at this number, click here to start a chat? Like, are we really giving them a clear call to action? Leveraging special offers and coupons, incentivize them to do business with you. Have the opportunity to engage via chat or text you, right? I'm going to tell you, like, giving them the opportunity to start a text message and know that that's going to solve, we're finding can have a huge impact on conversion rates. Giving them the opportunity to book online, knowing that the site speed is mission critical, the website has to load fast. That really impacts your conversion rate. And then the one thing most plumbing and HVAC companies aren't doing that can just be a game changer in terms of your results is leveraging automation. After the lead comes in, after they submit that form, after they start that chat, using marketing automation can really improve your conversion rates. So we're going to get into the specifics here, but I wanted to kind of paint the high level picture of what you want to be thinking about, what the key things are. And this is in your workbook. And then we can get right into the real examples and like the real how-to on this stuff. So the first question in your workbook says, what's the one element that will have the biggest impact on your marketing results over time? The one element, somebody type it in the chat. What do you think it is? What's one element that has a huge impact in your overall results? I'll give you like a couple seconds to think about it, or type in your workbook, or somebody put it into the chat for me. Irresistible offers, says Eric. Yes, that will have a huge impact as well. Live callbacks, responding fast. Yes, yes, yes. All of that has an impact. Really, the number one thing that will impact all your marketing efforts is your ability to convert traffic into leads, right? If you're not able to convert at a high level, none of your marketing is going to work, right? And the same thing is the ability to convert leads into book jobs, right? If you're not converting, you're not going to get an ROI. You're not going to be able to continue to scale the budget. You're not going to be able to take things to the next level. So the answer there is conversion, and really conversion from visitor to lead and from lead into sale. And so I'm going to show you a live example of this, and then we're going to get into some very, very specific examples. But hopefully you guys are all tracking along with me as we go through this process. A great example of a website that's truly built to convert and generates great results is our client, Valley Plumbing, and they're based in the Salt Lake City area. They're a plumbing, drain cleaning service provider, and I'm going to talk about the key elements. I'm going to show you how well this website converts visitors into leads, and hopefully you'll be able to kind of see exactly how you can implement this kind of thing for yourself. So a couple of things on our bucket list there, things we want to focus on fundamentally. Always you want to have the phone number in the top right-hand corner of your website. That's where the eyes naturally gravitate to. And heat map studies, we kind of track this. The mouse tends to rotate up here. So we want to have that phone number in the top right-hand corner. We want to leverage authenticity, right? So you can see we get pictures of the owners of the business, and they're smiling in their trucks, and it's really well branded. And you just get a sense this is a real company that's going to take care of me. They're going to do a good job. And so having the authentic imagery, and if you don't have a big team, then it's just you as the owner, right? If you do have a big team, then we want to have you and the team. And it's just kind of that visual has a huge impact on your conversion rates. Making sure that the messaging speaks directly to the customer avatar. Really, they want to know, are you going to answer live? You're going to show up on time. So saying you've got 24-hour service, providing exceptional service and quality workmanship 24 hours a day. And then making it easy for this person to determine whether they want to do business with you without having to read through. From an SEO perspective, we want lots of content. For the technical buyer, we want to give them lots of information. And so, yeah, we can put a lot of content and multimedia and all that other stuff. But above the fold, which is like a digital marketing term, above the fold, before they have to scroll, we want to tell a story that gives them exactly what they need to convert, right? Professionalism, authenticity with trucks, opportunity to book online, phone number to make a phone call, place to chat right on the website. They can make a decision, and I think most people do based on our studies, just based on this little snapshot right here. They don't have to scroll. And also making sure that the website is mobile friendly, right? And it's hard to see it in this way, but you want to make sure that the website orients when they pull up the phone. They can easily see everything they need to see. They can click a button and call your office. It fits nicely into their mobile phone device, regardless if they're on an iPhone or an Android or something else. Think about the mobile experience of your customer and make sure that it makes it easy for them to engage. They don't want to read as much. They don't want to have to scroll as much on their mobile phone. So those are some of the key things. Really, there's 3 ways we're finding that people want to interact with your plumbing, HVAC, or home service website. The traditional, like maybe a little bit older generation want to call. And almost all of you, from what we see, really want to focus on the phone call, right? Because you've got CSRs and you're good at answering the phone, and your business is optimized for, let's generate phone calls. And yes, we want phone calls. And I think there's a certain portion of your population that will want to take a phone call. But where we're finding more conversions happening today, and where the big opportunity is for you, if you're forward thinking with your marketing, is giving them the opportunity to book directly online, to pick a time and have it done, or to start a chat, ideally via two-way text message, where they can ask question, they can find availability, and they can schedule their call. And so those are the three conversion factors we want to have. Phone number in the top right-hand corner where they can call if that's what they want to do, or click to call right from the mobile phone. The ability to book directly on the site, and or the ability to chat. If you don't have those three options, you're going to be missing a portion of your customer base, or the conversion rates on your website. And you just think about how the industry is evolving, or how our marketplace is evolving as a whole. And it used to be, if you needed someone to take you from point A to point B in a car, you'd dial a number, taxi cab service would come, an ugly yellow cab would show up at your house, and you get in this crusty vehicle and you'd drive to wherever you want to go. Today, the Uberized version, the Lyft version of our marketplace is totally different. Right there's an app where you can just choose the kind of car you want, pick the time, they show up, you get charged, you don't even have to pay money, it just all runs through your credit card. And that's where your consumer mindset is right now. They want to be pampered, they want things to be easy, they don't want to have to make a phone call and jump through a bunch of hoops. Today's customer and tomorrow's customer is even going to be more along those lines. And so use the technology like they have in Service Titan and Schedule Engine and Conversion Amp and House Call Pro. Let your customers choose the time and kind of like map out the service offering that they need, and have that chat button on the site. Give me one in the comments if that makes sense. Like really, you want to think about how your customer really wants to convert. A couple of you guys, you said like live callback and response time and speed to lead. Like if you can just eliminate that and make it really easy for them to schedule in, so a lot of your customers will do it, right? And you're going to have a much better conversion experience if you have these other conversion factors in place. Now, there are certain customers that want to read. And from an SEO perspective, we got to have a lot of content on the website. And so, yeah, we want to talk about, the different things that you do and the different services you provide, and showcase some of the organizations that you're a part of. We want to leverage, good, healthy imagery, ideally not stock imagery, but professional imagery of you, your technicians, your team. You want to showcase your reviews and what other customers are saying about you in your marketplace. The Valley Plumbing has got 2,893 reviews on their website. So that's going to carry some weight, right? Multimedia, have a video that they can play to learn about who you are and what you do and why you stand out. Certain customers really want to feel that they know, like, and trust you before they have to do business with you. Leverage the coupon. So like we infuse all of these different factors into the website to improve the conversion rate, to improve the customer experience, and ultimately to improve the results of the marketing. And so that's a great example of a website that's built to convert. I'm going to show you this now. Hopefully, is my screen still showing? Yeah, it should still be showing. So here we are. You can see $10,000 spend, 550 leads generated, about $18 per lead. And you can see leads coming from organic, pay-per-click, Google Maps. If we drill down just on the organic part of the equation, and we track this is a metric that we look very closely at, 3,317 visitors generated that number of leads, which means the website converted 35% of visitors into leads, right? So at the beginning, I'll show you an example of like 5 to 15%. Here's a website and a brand that's really optimized to convert. It's converting north of 35%. I'm going to show another example. I won't go nearly as deep, but I just want to give you guys some context and some examples of this. And then just type examples in the comments if this is helpful to see some real world examples of websites and how we're structuring them to really improve the conversion rate. So this is Meridian Company. They're based in East Lansing, Michigan. Alan says examples. Thank you. Phone number in the top right-hand corner. Ability to schedule the service. I think the chat widget might just be off at this moment. But really using that personality, authenticity. We can see this is a real company with real trucks. Really speaking to the customer avatar. I think this is a good example of entering that conversation that's in their head, right? They want to know that you're going to show up on time. They want to know that you're trustworthy. They want to know that you're going to have their back should something go wrong. So we got always ready, trusted technicians, professionals, full service solutions, community minded, satisfaction guaranteed, really speaks to that customer, like where they're at. And it's not talking about mumbo jumbo, but it's really hitting the customer exactly where they sit. Video based case study testimonials of what other customers have said about their experience working with them, the ability to turn in a form and start a conversation. Again, a lot of these fundamentals are in place that make all the difference in terms of how well this website converts. And so if we look at the metrics here, I'll hit the slideshow button again because I need to get back. So $7,000 marketing spend, 677 leads generated, an average of $11.65 per lead. You can kind of see the breakdown of where those leads come from. If we get into the specifics, 1,454 visits or unique sessions, 495 leads generated. That's a 32% conversion rate from visitor to caller. So just another really good example of, these little things, right? You might think, oh, it's not that big of a deal, but when you get the fundamentals right, it makes all the difference in how well the website converts, right? So here is Nixco Plumbing. We've got the ability to schedule, right? Get right in and schedule a time. We've got that offered in a couple of places. We've got the phone number in the top right-hand corner. We've got the ability to engage in a two-way text message, which your customers want and they love. A great mobile experience where we can clearly see the information we need, but we can also click to call and jump to just the key things we probably would want to see if we're on a mobile device. We've got the case studies in social media, the testimonials, and the personality and authenticity. Really seeing those owners, seeing the people behind the business, which again is a hallmark of effective conversion for your plumbing, HVAC, home service business. And so I'm just going to hit some of the metrics here. You can see $5,000 or give or take $5,800 in ads in marketing, SEO, pay-per-click strategy, 530 leads tracked, and this is on a monthly basis. It's an average of $10.99 per lead. And then really the beauty here is 1,000 or so sessions, 700 and change leads. Actually, that's not leads. Looking at the previous screen there, you can see a 38% conversion rate from visitor to lead. And so hopefully this is helpful in kind of seeing some of these examples. Now let's think about what you need to do within your website in order to maximize your conversion rates and how we can help make sure that your website converts at that level. I do have a cheat sheet for you. You don't need to pull this up because it's on the Google Doc that I shared with you guys. But really the key fundamentals, right? Visually speaking, where we want to put the chat widget, where we want to put the logo, where we want to put the phone number. And this is really on our experience working with hundreds and now at this point, probably rolling out well over 300 plumbing, HVAC, home service websites. What we found works well and how we can consistently get north of 30% conversion from lead to caller. And so, like I said, it really comes down to if you can see Joe Jones through Joe Jones' eyes, that you can sell what Joe Jones buys, right? And this is going deep into your customer avatar and thinking about what are their pains and frustrations, what are their goals and desires, what are their fears and implications, what are their dreams and aspirations. And really what we found studying the home service industry, specifically plumbing, HVAC, electrical, your customer tends to be the homeowner, 35 years plus. Typically, the female is involved in the buying decision, married with 2 to 3 kids. They're the head of the household. They have more than $65,000 annual income, and this varies from market to market. They're family-oriented. They're reliable, easily frustrated. They like to please people and expect the same in return. Not super handy. Like they don't know how to fix it. They know that they need it fixed. They live in the suburbs. They take an interest in their community, right? So what's your customer avatar? What is it in your specific market? The better you know your customer, the better you can craft the messaging on your website, in your ads, and in your follow-up messaging. What are their fears and frustrations, right? They're annoyed that their thing's not working. They can't get anyone to answer the phone, right? If you really check with your customers when they need your service, their experience is they're picking up the phone, they're calling a dozen different companies. The companies aren't answering, they don't have techs available, and they just need the problem solved, right? So they want someone that will answer the phone live They need to get the plumbing issue resolved. They're too busy to deal with it, right? Your customer is super busy, right? And this is a outside of their time frame situation that they need to deal with, and they're worried that it could be problematic, or they might get overcharged. There might be some issue that happens. So their fears, and again, this is important that you understand this and you think this through, because the better you understand your customer, the better you can write the messaging. The better you write the messaging, the better the website will convert, right? So really thinking this stuff through, they're afraid they're going to get ripped off or overcharged. They're going to pay too much for something they could have gotten for significantly less. The house might be damaged by poor workmanship. They're going to have to wait around for the technician to arrive. Like the guy told me to be there, he'd be there, and it's 2:45 and they're still not here. And I called the office and I took this little time off, and now I'm going to have to, apologize to my boss. Like, that's a big fear of theirs. Being inconvenienced, trying to coordinate with the technician may cause a disaster. Bill is going to be more than they can afford. And really, they just want the problem to be solved. And so, cliff notes here, right? If you really understand your customer and you really understand their fears, their frustrations, their wants, and their desires, you can make sure that your messaging hits those hot buttons for them, right? And so what we found, again, working on hundreds of these websites at this point, the message you need to hit that usually works best is we've got same-day service or emergency service, 24-hour service, on-time service. Really hammer that, because that's a key fundamental thing they're always worried about. Straightforward pricing, upfront pricing, satisfaction guaranteed, that they're not going to get hosed, right? You're going to take care of them. You're going to offer them a fair price. And you've got trustworthy technicians, trusted technicians, experienced technicians. If you can get some combination of those three hot buttons into the messaging above the fold and hammer that again and again and again, you'll be more effectively entering the conversation that's in your customer's mind, which is going to help them choose you, prevent them from clicking the back button and going to the next company. And if you answer live almost every time, make sure you call that out. Live answer, 24 hours a day. Technician will get there within 24 hours. Like, those things make a huge difference. So hopefully this is tracking for you guys. I know that I went deep on messaging, and when we think about the website, it's like, how important is the messaging? Well, the messaging is super important. So just give me a 1 if that makes sense, if you're still here, if I haven't totally lost you with some of this talk track that I'm going down right now. But really, to the point that you can hit, always ready, trusted technicians, professional, full service, community minded, satisfaction guaranteed, you're going to convert better, right? It's going to generate better results. We want to be real and authentic. I showed you a bunch of examples where, like, using video, having real pictures of your real people on the website, huge impact. Having those pictures of the team, if you can get an image like this where they can see the team and the owner front and center, that just goes a long ways. We want to leverage multimedia, and you could be as simple as a website on the homepage. Hey, here's who we are, here's what we do. Or you can be more complex and have videos for each of the pages. So if they get on the drain cleaning page or the indoor air quality page, hey, if you're on this page, you're probably having an issue with your home's indoor air quality, right? We're the specialists in this area. We understand all of these different things, and we can get someone out there today to assess your air quality issues and get them resolved, right? If you message that way and you get a video that kind of goes along with it, you're going to convert really well. And you're also going to generate better SEO results. You're going to be able to convert more traffic from your website. Showcase social proof, like really hammering home how many reviews you have, what people are saying about you. If you can get video testimonials, that's a bonus. That works really well. And there's lots of tools that will help you kind of calculate the number of reviews you have from across the web and showcase it on the website and make it easy for the customer to see, wow, they've got hundreds of reviews. They must be pretty good. And make sure you're showing them the source of those reviews as well. And then make sure that you've got the fundamentals. Give them the opportunity to schedule, right? Have that schedule form front and center. Make sure that you've got the phone number in the top right-hand corner. Make sure that you tell them what to do next, right? When we get to the bottom of the site, or when we scroll down to the end of the page, don't just end it with whatever your paragraph was. End it with, hey, call us at this number, or click here to schedule a call, or click here to start a chat. Like, tell them exactly what the next step is that you want them to take. We found especially with paid search, if we want to convert, offering special incentives that are congruent with the page that they landed on can work really well. So all things being equal, if you got a good website that's speaking to their fears, their frustrations, their concerns, and you say, hey, by the way, here's a coupon for $250 off, a bathroom remodel on the bathroom remodeling page, they're more likely to be like, okay, I'm going to contact these guys. I'm going to take advantage of this incentive, this reason to do business. If I said it once, I'll say it 100 times. More of your visitors are getting to the website via mobile than they are on desktop. And so we all want pretty websites that look really good. But the reality is you want to pay attention to how your website looks on the mobile phone. So be sure that it's very, very well optimized for the mobile experience. And I want to recommend go ahead and pull up your website right now on your mobile phone. Just pull it up, go to whatever your website is, and look at it, right? How does it look? Are you able to click a button and call? If not, go fix that right now. Figure out a way to make sure that the website has a click to call button. Does it all fit? Does it all orient? Or do you have to pinch the screen? Give me a 1 if your website looks good to go on mobile. You feel like, bam, it's good. I'm able to click to call. It fits. Or a 2 if wow, there's an opportunity for improvement here. My website looks cool on desktop, but on mobile, there might be a problem. Awesome. So you guys are just checking, yeah, website's good on mobile. Some of you, this might be the opportunity. The other thing that's really important, especially since mobile is more optimized for conversion on calls than desktop, make sure that when they hit the call button, it actually opens up the dialog box to be dialing your office, as opposed to them having to copy and paste the number. It's a minor thing, but we found it can really tank the results of mobile traffic visitors to calls. If they have to copy and paste and redo it, they'll just be like, forget it. I'm going to a different mobile site where it's easier for me to do what I'm trying to do here. So that's just something to look at as well. And then I talked about this as we were going through the live examples, but it's really, really important. Only 5 to 10% of your visitors are going to take the action that you want, call or submit a form. 90% leave. They're going to leave the site, they're going to move on. And so make sure they have the opportunity to chat with you, or make sure they have the opportunity to convert by booking a time on your calendar. Consider live chat, right? And we've got a great tool called Conversion App. We'll talk about it here in a second, that gives your customers the ability to engage in a two-way text conversation, right? And they love it. Customers just love to feel like, man, I'm chatting with the company and they're telling me when they're available and I didn't have to call in. This in and of itself can have a doubling of the conversion rate from visitors to your website. So have that little button where they can start a chat conversation and either chat with a live dialogue, or my preference would be chat via two-way text message, where it takes it off your website and they've got a text from your company saying, hey, how can we help? And they're back, I need someone to come out to my house for this. And then somebody on your team can say, great, here's the link to the schedule where we can book this in. Give me a 1 right now if you've already got chat on your website, or 2 if not. And it's like, hey, that's something I think we could put in place that would improve our conversion rates. All right, fantastic. So really, we covered a lot, right? I talked about all of the key things you can do to improve your conversion rates from visitors to leads. I want you guys in your workbook just to take a couple of minutes and pick the top 3. What are 3 things you can put in place to improve the conversion rate from visitor to caller on your site, right? The thing I don't want is for this to just be a theory session. What are 3 things? Could it be I'm going to put chat widget on my site. I'm going to enable booking where they can book a time directly on the calendar. I'm going to put some images of myself and my team front and center, right? That would be a good 3, right? But for you, it could be different. Either put it into your workbook, top 3 things you're going to implement to improve conversion from visitor to caller, or put it in the chat, right? If you really feel up to it, that's a lot of fun for me as well. All right. So we covered the first part of this, which is how do we improve conversion rate from visitor to lead, right? And I really believe when you implement the things I just covered with you, you can improve the conversion rate by 2 to 10 times, right? Just by entering the conversation, by having better conversion factors in place. And I showed you examples where a number of sites are converting at 30 to 35% plus. what I want to talk about now is what you can do to improve the conversion rate from lead to book job, right? Because if you can optimize for those two conversion factors, it can have a huge impact on your results. And so we talked a lot about lead generation, and we talked a lot about converting the leads that you get into calls or into web chats or into things like that. But I really think the bigger issue for a lot of this is we get leads, but we don't convert them into book jobs. Give me a one if you feel like there's an opportunity where you might be able to convert more of your leads, either via web chat or via web form or via inbound calls that don't convert into book jobs. I know that there is an opportunity. What we find is like something like 50 to 60% of inbound leads for the home service companies we work with, plumbing, HVAC, electrical, don't convert. And we work with some of the best. So like most of our clients are doing, well north of $1 million, more like $5 to $10 million per year. They've got good dispatchers, they've got good tech teams, but still like 50 to 60%, they say, hey, I'll call back later. Or they submit a form and nobody follows up with it. Or, the lead just doesn't convert. And what I also found is like 90% of web forms don't convert because it feels like web forms is where leads go to die. Customer takes the time to fill in the form and say, hey, my name is Betty Sue and my house is at this address and I've got a leaky pipe. And they submit it through, but then nobody on the team really is able to convert it. And what we found is the reason you guys aren't converting and the reason there's such this challenge with conversion is that if your leads don't get followed up with in 15 minutes or less, and it's really more like 5 minutes or less, they're going to go somewhere else. They go cold because there's so many options in your market, right? They can quickly hit the back button and they can quickly contact another company. And that's what most of the customers do. If we think about their psychological predisposition, they got a problem, they want it solved, and they want it done now. They want it off their mind. And so they're going to keep calling, texting, reaching out until somebody books in a time with them, right? So if you're not Johnny on the spot, following up on your leads, connecting with your customers, they're going to go somewhere else. The other thing we found is that the average customer has to be followed within 5 to 6 times before booking. So those customers that call in that haven't said yes, hey, let's do it Thursday at 3 because they're shopping, right? Maybe for more high transaction values like a new HVAC system or a new water heater. Those customers that say, hey, you know what, I'll call you back. I'm going to call a couple other people. You need to check in with them, right? You need to be following up 5 to 7 times to make sure that you optimize your probability of getting those leads. And then the third major factor that's causing your conversion rate not to be where it needs to be is that today's customer prefers to interact via text message than phone call, right? And you guys are so optimized for the phone call, like you only want to deal with somebody that calls in, but your customer today would much prefer if they could start a text message, if you would reach out to them via text versus phone. And so those being the factors, the solution and what we found is marketing automation exists. And marketing automation in today's market makes it so much easier to follow up quickly, to follow up consistently, and to follow up in a way the customer really wants, which is via text message versus the phone. And so we want to leverage automation to make sure that every single web form gets followed up within 2 minutes or less, right? We use automation. The second they fill in the form, they get a phone call. Hey, it's Bob from Bob's Plumbing. You just submitted a form on our site, right? Or more likely, you call through automation and make that call. They don't answer. And then they get a text message that says, hey, you just called in. Sorry, we missed you. Like, let me know how we can help. When you use automation in this way, and you've got the right tools, you can convert so many more of the leads that you generate. And then through automation, we can automate the follow-up, right? If they didn't convert yet, or if they didn't schedule yet, we can have it so that text messages and phone calls are happening every couple of days until they say, no, I've already booked it. Or they say, hey, thanks for following up. I'm actually ready now. And so it can like 3 to 10x the conversion rate of the leads that you already generate or are going to generate by leveraging automation. And I'll just show another example of this. Again, typical scenario, and it's unfortunate, but we see it all the time. We generate 100 leads, right? So we've got our website, we've got our pay-per-click, we've got our different marketing strategies in place. We generate 100 leads for the business. we only convert about 30% of them because we're not using automation, right? Somebody in the office answers the phone, hey, thanks for calling in, and they don't convert. And so if we convert 30 of those leads into sales, 30 jobs at a 650 average transaction, we only generate $20,000 in revenue for 100 leads, which is not ideal. Now, what we're finding is when we put marketing automation in place, and when we do this well, we see almost like 70% conversion rate from leads to book jobs, right? So let's just say we take that to 70%. For the same amount of lead flow, for the same exact investment in your marketing, you can go, because you've got marketing automation in place, because you're following up via text message and you're following up quickly, speed to lead, and you're leveraging automation to touch them again and again, we get that up to 70%. For that same 100 leads, we wind up with 70 book jobs. Let's say you keep the average ticket the same, 650, we can generate $45,000 in revenue where we would have only generated 20. So this is a legitimate case study. We see this happen all the time with the clients that we work with, just by putting the right systems in place to automate the lead conversion and the lead follow-up. And it really ultimately makes every lead you generate more valuable. And so the system that we've developed that we use to drive this is called Conversion Amp. If you go to conversionamp.com, you can set up a free demo where we'll walk you through it. It costs less. It literally costs less than one job booked. And so it has an exponential return on investment. It's very, very well priced. It's one of the things I'm most excited about that we do here at Plumbing and HVAC SEO. And it's actually something you can buy standalone. So if you were to say, I don't necessarily need to hire you for all of my web marketing, which is usually what we do, I just want you guys to do this lead follow-up stuff for us. We can do that, right? It's something that we can absolutely bring to the table. So let me just pull this up for you guys. And I could go into this illustration and show you like down the depths of why this is great and how it converts. But the best thing for you to do would be to just come to conversionamp.com, schedule a time. We'll walk you through exactly how it works, how the automations fire, how you'll be able to engage with your customers via two-way text message. And you're going to get a return on investment. It costs, again, less than one book job per month, which is huge. How many of you believe if you followed up with your leads in 2 minutes or less, you gave them the option to convert via phone and text message, and you had some systems in place to follow up quickly and to follow up diligently, like 5 to 6 times until they convert? How many of you believe you would convert more of your leads into book jobs? Just give me a 1 if you believe that. Yes, no doubt. And so I really, there are other platforms that do similar. This is built specifically for the industry. So I definitely suggest go in, check it out. Free demo will show you exactly what it is, how it works. And then you can decide whether it's the right fit for you or not. Okay. So, I really want you guys to apply this to your business. Again, in your workbook, there's very specific checklist here. Are we speaking to the fears and frustrations of our customer base? Are we using real authenticity and imagery on our homepage and throughout the site? Do we have at a minimum a welcome video? Maybe a video for each of the services. Do we have a video explaining why somebody should choose you versus the competition? Are we leveraging social proof where they can see the reviews that we have using a platform like Bird Eye or Review Buzz or some other tool where they can clearly see all the great reviews you have? Do we have the basics in order? Phone number in the top right-hand corner, web form they can submit in case they don't want to make a phone call. Do we have clear call to action at the end of each page, tell them exactly what to do next? Are we mobile optimized and that we can quickly click a button, call the office, get the details we need from a mobile experience? Are we leveraging live chat, ideally via two-way text message like we can do for you with Conversion Amp? Are we giving the clients the option to book directly online where they could pick a time and feel like it's over, right? Because a lot of that's all they need. They just need to feel like, man, I booked the plumber. He's going to come today at 3, or he's going to come tomorrow at 4. Once that's done and they've booked it, they've moved on, right? And so if you can give them that option, a lot of cases you'll get the deal. Making sure your website loads quickly. Again, we could talk a long time about this, but if you just pull up GT metrics, you can quickly see, like, is your site loading quick enough, or is that possibly a bottleneck in conversion? And then are you leveraging automation? Is every lead getting followed up within 2 minutes or less? Are we touching them via phone, via email, and communicating on an ongoing basis to convert those leads that don't convert immediately? And are we quick with the follow-up? So again, 3 things you can put in place to generate better results. We've talked about how to convert your visitors to leads. We talked a lot about that. We also talked about how to convert your leads into book jobs, right? And if you do that effectively, you can really write your ticket in terms of the results that you generate in your home service business. And so again, spend a couple minutes, get clear on the things you'll actually change, right? Because there's nothing more useless than sitting on a session like this and not doing something with it, right? I really want you to do something, whether it's go back and do it yourself, or whether it's go back and get with your current provider and say, hey, let's change these things, or let's put this type of automation in place. Or if you'd like some help, right? If you'd like to talk with us about how we can implement this for you and help you generate better results with your online marketing, we'd love that opportunity. The best way to connect with us would be to go to plumberseo.net/schedule. Or if you happen to be listening to this, you can call us at 866-610-4647. This is what we do. Like, literally at this moment, we work with 176 of the top plumbing, HVAC, electrical companies in the country. We've got a full team of people that build the websites, write the content, craft the messaging, get the website ranked organically for the most important keywords in your area, run the paid search campaigns, run the retargeting campaigns, put the tracking in place, and helping you optimize your return on investment. So hopefully this was valuable. If you need some help, we'd love the opportunity to chat. It is a complimentary session where we'll look at your current website. We'll show you where there's room for improvement. If it's great, we'll say, hey, look, we love this industry. We'll say, hey, it looks like you're in good hands. It looks like you're doing a good job. And you know what? If there's an opportunity for us to work together, we'll have that conversation on that meeting as well. So that's it for now. Thank you guys so much for being here. It was a pleasure sharing this information with you. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any specific questions. Otherwise, I'll let you guys get on with your day. Any questions that I missed potentially, or that you guys might have? Yes, Rich, go ahead. Or David Burns.
So I typed in, do you recommend anything that you can, any company that integrates with a website? So say I'm on my phone and I just want to press a button and I want to actually have like a Zoom chat with someone. What's in your opinion, the best one, and which one do you guys use? And
if they want to have a Zoom chat?
Yeah, like what we're doing right now. I want someone to pick up their phone and they say they want to see who's on the other end of the line. And it gets my messy office here. And then I can talk to them. I'm in my uniform. My daughter's in the background. They see it's my house. And I'm just a hardworking plumber. Like you said, all the good things they want to deal with a real person.
I think I love the idea of that. It would not be hard to produce that. Basically, what I would do is I would set up a meeting, an open meeting, right? So that's not a webinar, but an actual meeting that you have open at all times throughout the day. You have it set up where they enter into a waiting room and you get a little boop when they open it, right? So at any point in the day, somebody can log in on Zoom and kind of see you face to face, and you can see them. You just need to have that meeting link and then have a pop-up on your site. And there's lots of little widgets that you can use that says, want to meet now? And maybe it's a picture of you on Zoom, or maybe it's just click here to have a live one-on-one video conference. Sure. They hit the button and it's just the link to your meeting link. And then you get the little bloop alert. That could be a simple application. Not everybody wants to be on Zoom all day and make themselves available in that way, but that's an absolute possibility.
Yeah, and that's because I'm disabled, so I answer all my own phones. That's what I do for a living, is I vet all my customers, get a real high closing rate, all that stuff. So since I'm already in my office 12 hours a day, I might as well take advantage of what people want. Most people, like you said, they don't have this particular feature because they're just going to get a secretary, 1 of 5 women answering the phone or whatever. So I think it would be an advantage, a more personal touch. And that's a great idea with the open Zoom. But I also would want a way that if I do leave, it could go to like an answering machine type of a, hi, this is Dave. I've just left my office for a few minutes. I'll, call you or video you back. And I was wondering, there's gotta be an app out, not an app, a company that offers something like a Zoom, but like a phone being answered, like we used when we were kids. What's the feature?
Yeah.
Like you call someone, it's a phone. Yeah.
I don't know of any system that does that. I'm sure it exists. Would not be hard to, have a toggle that says I'm available on Zoom now, and you press on, and then that means that little pop-up is going to show up on the site where they can engage with you in Zoom if you want, and then you toggle it off when you're away, and then they can just fill out a form instead. But I think that's an interesting idea that would be distinctive in the marketplace.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Awesome. Any other questions before we wrap up? Does Conversion App do booking? Asked Philip. Yes, actually, it can. I find like most companies already are using something like House Call Pro or Service Titan or Schedule Engine, but we can absolutely have a calendar widget where they can book a time and it checks against your availability on Google Calendar, whatever calendar system you use. And so, yeah, if you schedule a demo, Rick, who's here chatting with you, can jump on and show you exactly how we could put that in place for you. And it does have that feature and that function. Can you adjust booking by location to reduce windshield time? Better would be let them book a time and just know that it's tentatively scheduled. And so usually what we recommend is you leave it as tentatively scheduled. The second they pick a time on the calendar, you or somebody in the office calls and says, hey, you're scheduled for Tuesday at, today at 3:00. Sorry, we can't do it, right? And disqualify the ones that aren't a good fit. That would be easier than trying to just limit the ability to book based on availability. Awesome. Well, fantastic, guys. Thanks for being such a great group and for engaging with me on chat, and for a lot of you guys having your webcams on. Please be sure that you take action on this, that, there's something that you take away. Give me one in the comments if you got at least one insight or at least one thing that you can go back and implement to generate better conversion rate on your website and or your online marketing. Awesome. A couple of ones coming in. I appreciate that. If you need more help, we'd love the opportunity to connect. Again, plumberseo.net/schedule, 866-610-4647. It's been an absolute pleasure. Have an amazing afternoon, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.